Coming January 27th to Clubhouse 3, it's Matt Mauser with the Pete Jacobs Big Band in a tribute to Frank Sinatra.
Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars.
Yes, you'd need a time machine to see a better Sinatra show.
Pack up, let's fly away.
That's January 27th at 3 p.m. Tickets are on sale now at the box office.
Let's fly away.
Well, everyone knows that voice. It's been around for quite a while, and it's really something to listen to. I was a big fan as a kid. Joining me now is that voice himself. This is Matt Mauser and Pete Jacobs.
Hi.
And you know, I'm just amazed watching this video. Where did you, first of all, how did you become a Sinatra fan at your age?
Well, you know, it wasn't something that I intended to do. It just kind of fell in. You know, I figured out after he died, really, you know, in 1998, that I enjoyed Sinatra. I bought one of his albums, and then some people, I started singing a little bit like him, just kind of imitating him, and people said, "Boy, you really sound like Sinatra." So I'm in a rock and roll band, and then we did a lot of weddings, and after doing a few weddings, we'd have to do like Sinatra stuff during the dinner set. And during the dinner set, people would say, "Wow, you really sound like Sinatra." So I kind of got the inkling that there was a little bit of Sinatra-esque kind of vocals in there.
You know, I was a Sinatra fan as a kid, believe it or not, but not his singing. I think his acting in movies is what I liked. So I've always been a fan of Sinatra and been indifferent about the singing, I guess. But
I think the thing about Sinatra is he's an entertainer. It's more than just being a great singer. He could just walk into a room and without saying a word, he owned the room. Yeah. And I see that in Matt too. Matt's got that ability to just really connect with people, and so it's great.
Yeah, I think just looking at the video here, I'm just amazed that you know, apart from just that 5 inches of the face, it comes across like Sinatra, and it sounds like Sinatra. It's amazing.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, appreciate it. You know, I got kind of an interesting story. You asked the question how I got into Sinatra, but
okay.
Early in 1961, my grandparents came out here. They came out in the late 50s, but in 61, my grandfather was trying to break into the show business. So we found out where Frank was playing, or where he would eat lunch. And he saw Frank come out of the restaurant and said, "Hey, Frank, I'm a fellow New Yorker. I'm trying to get a job out here. Can you give me a job?" And Frank said, "Meet me here tomorrow." And Frank got him his Screen Actors Guild card the next day and put him in one of his specials. And I just found on YouTube the other day, about 3 weeks ago, my grandfather and Frank doing one for My Baby and One for the Road. And my grandfather was the bartender that Frank is singing to. So, you know, it kind of come full circle in that sense. But
yeah.
He was the kind of guy that people today that met him, you know, talk about what a great person he was. Not just an entertainer, but what a decent person he was.
Wow. So now you're doing this big band music. So you've got the rock and roll stuff, and then the Sinatra big band stuff.
Yep.
How long have you been doing the big band music?
Well, Pete and I just started about a year ago. I propositioned him in December of last year and said, "Would you be interested in doing this Frank Sinatra thing?"
And I'm sitting there thinking, I didn't have to think about it for more than about half a second. I said, "Yeah, let's do it. I'm all into that. Let's do it."
Well, Pete, what do you do? I mean, is it some background music or something?
No,
or?
I actually write all of the parts for all of the musicians, and I rehearse them, and I listen to a lot of the Sinatra songs that we're doing require an orchestra with strings and stuff like that. With a big band, you don't have strings, so I had to rearrange all of Nelson Riddle's and Quincy Jones's arrangements for the big band and for the number of horns that we have. So I did all of that, and
the truth is, Pete is the brains behind the whole thing.
I guess I can see that because
you're pretty done.
I think you know, a voice like that, you can have all this talent, but unless you've got someone that's going to go out and really set it up and push it, because I don't know where I'd go with a Sinatra impression. I mean, what can you do with something like that? So when did you guys meet? How did this all start? Are you guys old friends or something, or family?
No, the guitar player in my band,
Used
my
to be
rock
in
and
my
roll
band. He stole them from me.
He does double time with
Okay.
Pete.
Yeah.
So he, you know, we met him through a mutual musician friend.
Ah, okay. Well, let's take a look at one of the clips. Let's take a look at one of the songs, and let's take a listen. Let's hear exactly what this sounds like, because there's more than just singing it. All right.
Let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you. Fill my heart with song. Let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, in other words, I love.
Is amazing, and I mean, it's almost my first instinct is it looks like he's lip syncing. It's like, how can this be real? But you've got all these musicians here and a singer up there, and it just sounds just like Sinatra. So who trains these musicians? Where do they get this music, and how do they get all this stuff?
Well, I basically wrote all the parts out for all of the players, and these are, you know, really trained musicians. They know how to play, they know how to read the music, and so they just wrote what I wrote down and play what I wrote down. They do great.
So they're just reading the music that you wrote and individually, because I see the keyboard player there too, and that wasn't around in Sinatra's time.
Well, he played piano, and that was me, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and when we do our show, I'll be on a grand piano.
I see.
So
okay.
yeah, but we had a keyboard that day because that particular venue didn't have a grand piano.
So you've got all these musicians, and it's not just a background music. This is an entire orchestra back
Exactly,
here.
yes.
And they're performing as you go.
We're trying to do it the way it was at the Sands Hotel back when Count Basie and Frank Sinatra were playing back at the height of his career.
That really is amazing.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, the first question that comes to mind too. You said you played in another band. You play rock and roll, and you play this. How about original music? Would you ever think about doing like a Sinatra song by you?
You mean
Written by you?
Yeah, absolutely. That's
And-
kind of the goal. I think eventually,
Yeah.
what we've talked about is if this thing should take off, and if we get some momentum, we'd like to do original stuff, and just release an album as a solo artist.
Because I think this big band music is something that could just kind of slowly come back in style. You know?
Well, if you look at a guy like Michael Bublé, who's kind of doing his own thing under the umbrella of Frank Sinatra, or like a guy like Harry Connick Jr., who's kind of made
Yeah.
himself. You know, people don't relate him to it, but he started off as a Frank Sinatra-esque type guy.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
that's
And-
the goal.
It all goes back to Frank.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a whole different style of music. It's it's just so powerful, and it's just a little different than what you see today with a rock and roll
Oh, yeah.
guitar and all.
No, there's nothing like when you feel the horns and the whole band coming at you in a live setting, it makes a big difference.
I'll never forget the look on your face the very first time you sang with the band. You're used to, you know, 3 other guys behind you, a guitar, bass, and drum player, and you were standing out there in front of all the horns, and I'll never forget the look on your face when they all hit together.
Yeah, it's a powerful experience.
It's great.
Okay, so if people are right now sitting at home and they want to see this, what's their opportunity? When can they see something
Well,
like
it's
this?
at Clubhouse 3, and it's on January 27th from 3 to 5 p.m. in the afternoon, and you can get tickets at the box office there.
Okay, that's at the Laguna Woods box office, and that's Clubhouse 3, and that will be a show at 3 in the afternoon. So it's something that everyone in the village can see and can set up.
They can also buy them online.
Okay,
If
how do you
if
do
they're
that?
tech savvy. It's SinatraBigBand.com.
Okay.
That's for actually Laguna Woods residents buy them at the box office.
Okay, and so if people are interested in an album or something like that, it's just going to have to wait. Right?
It's coming.
It's
It's
coming.
coming. Okay.
It's coming.
There's a lot.
Next year.
Next year. Okay. Well, I think that's this whole event. This is something that everyone needs to look out for. It's a tribute to Frank Sinatra.
And we're hoping a lot of people come out.
Yeah, it's something I really want to see too. I would like my family to see it. It really is something to see. Okay. Well, thank you guys. I think everyone got a lot out of this and learned a lot. And let's go out. Let's close with a little more of the official Frank Sinatra imitation. All right.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Let's
Of you and the way you look tonight. With each word, your tenderness grows. It's tearing my fears apart. And that laugh that wrinkles your nose, it touches my foolish heart. Lovely, never ever change.